for the public?
I don't know where Yvette is. She's the only one that can make me a co-host.
Okay, when she does, when you're a co-host, then you can say, okay, well,
Then I
let's-
can rename people.
let's,
so I can tell who's who.
let's watch Commissioner Burke, Commissioner
Yeah.
Sowers or whoever speaks. Okay.
I might not be much help besides that, 'cause I think I might have to write an emergency resolution for the state of emergency, so just know that. Oh, no, maybe the city attorney's gonna do it.
Because of, under announcements, I'll explain why we're doing this meeting this
Yeah. 'cause we're
this
keeping
way
it-
at the last
keeping
minute.
us last week, so
Yes,
we're
yes.
here on an island.
Yes.
So it's a little weird, but.
So do you want to do that right at the first?
Under it, well, stick to the script, and then under announcements, I have, I think, 4 or something.
We go to public appearances and announcements comes after that or before?
Right.
Yeah.
And then consent.
Yeah.
And you read the script there.
Mhm,
And then public hearing, turn it over to Sarah, other Sarah,
mhm.
orders of business. And this should be a short meeting.
Good. Except you've got quite a bit to explain. You guys,
No, not really.
you guys have sure been busy.
We sure have. Well, our monthly reports is usually the month prior, so
Okay.
our formal monthly reports under writing is based on what happened in December, but we'll cover that.
Yeah.
But also, as I'll explain in one of the announcements, a quick snapshot of where we are from storms from the past 9-10 days,
Okay.
from forestry perspective, from overall street, citywide perspective. We don't have damage assessments. We don't.
Yeah.
I think we have a good count on how many trees so far. We don't know how much it's going to cost. We don't have a timeline for opening up beach stairs and things like that.
Yeah.
So we're a long ways from that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So my dog and I tried to go down on one of them once with the slippery.
You shouldn't even go there. There's barricades.
There
There's-
wasn't that day. There
Oh.
wasn't. It was early, but I could have made it at my age. My dog wouldn't do it. That's right. He took a couple of steps and slipped and turned around.
Do we have Commissioner Mickey and or Brzezowski?
I don't see either one of them on here yet.
Oh,
You know,
there's Yvette. Hey, Yvette, you need to make Nova a co-host?
I did.
You did.
Oh,
Okay,
maybe, let me see. She changed it. Okay. Okay, she's a co-host.
Okay, thank you.
got it.
and we don't know if Kelly's here yet anyway.
Kelly, I talked to her. Yeah, it's Kelly. Kelly's pulling over somewhere on the road from San Francisco, pulling over on Zoom.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be on her phone, but she'll be here.
And Bob, by the way, Sarah got called out on an emergency tree that is coming down. So it's just right behind us. She'll be there for a few minutes and she'll be late for the meeting.
Do we get credit if we show up?
Who, you?
Any of us?
What's the credit?
If necessary, we'll push the public hearing until after the orders of business. That's easy to do.
I would say whenever you two aren't talking, you might want to mute yourselves, otherwise
Oh.
it'll be on the recording, everything you guys are talking about.
Oh,
It's just FYI, it's already started recording. Not that you guys said anything.
I didn't mean it. I was joking.
Yeah, no, it's fine, but just,
Okay,
mute yourself on the laptop when you don't want everybody. on
Okay.
the-
Yvette, could you hit that record button that'll be down at the bottom near where you share screen and stuff like that? Just so we have 2 copies here.
Is that
who are you
recorded there?
talking to?
Yvette,
Sebastian,
yep.
record on this computer or record to the cloud?
Record to the cloud, please. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. We will have 2 copies here now.
Great.
Does anyone know whose phone number starts with 415 and ends in 258. Could that be a commissioner?
I think that might be Kelly, because she was in that area.
Oh,
Does it look like?
Commissioner Brzezowski, is that
no.
you?
Kelly, well, unless she's calling in on a different number, that her number ends in 6776.
All right, someone just went on off
That,
of mute.
that 415 number is my number, Michael McWalters.
Oh, okay, thank you, Mr.
And we'll pick up the usual.
I can rename him. It's Michael McWalters.
Yep.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, are you here? We're glad you're here. Are you here for public appearance? Are you here for the public hearing item or anything particular?
Yes, I would like to use 3 minutes in a public appearance
Oh, okay.
presentation, please.
Okay.
Not pretty much as observed.
We have special conditions today because of the storm and everything. If you want to speak on the record, that which is perfectly fine, all we gotta do, we'll move this laptop over the table so you can speak. Okay.
If you want to actually see the
Yes, I did. This is regarding the wireless ordinance that's going to be brought out in about a month or so.
Details of it.
how else can you see this screen?
Yeah,
When we do the presentation, I can just make this bigger.
Okay.
and you can see it.
Okay, cool. Okay, we're still waiting for,
Tamara Mitchie's joining now. So we have Tamara Mitchie,
Mickey.
Vicky,
Okay, so we
and Commissioner
have
Zhang.
three, we have a
quorum.
quorum. We'll give Commissioner Brzezowski just another minute or two. Okay.
Yeah, I know it's going through right now.
There's Commissioner Mickey.
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Sarah's back there. See, I could have come in.
You're more comfortable here or where you are. I should say.
Okay, good. Should I wear a mask?
That's the best part about being there. Don't have to.
I'm safe here.
We are under certain special circumstances today.
I know.
Ms. Moon is here, Dale Byrne is here, Maria is here.
I'm sorry, I had to walk away for a minute. Sarah's getting logged in right now.
Sarah Davis,
Correct.
okay.
Do you want me to go ahead?
No sign of Commissioner Brzezowski yet?
No.
You want to get started? Up to you. You're the chair.
Do we want to start? on this?
That's your call.
Oh, to go ahead. Well,
Or you
should
wanna
we
give-
wait just a few minutes? What time
Okay.
is it?
That's only,
3:33.
okay, a couple more minutes.
Huh?
A few more minutes. We don't have a long meeting in the first place.
Brian is here. Brian's in the meeting.
Yes, Commissioner Burley, Mickey Sowers are here. Commissioner Myers is not here today, and Commissioner Brzezowski is going to zoom in. We're waiting for her to pop in any minute now, hopefully.
All right, I believe Sarah is on right now.
Okay. From the people in Zoom, are they seeing Yvette's name?
Yes.
No, no, that's not, her name is, she has a great name. The question is to have the person speaking be the person on the screen.
Okay.
That's all.
Main Zoom screen is whoever is talking, so it's switching back and forth depending on who's talking.
Oh, maybe I need to change it to this.
Maybe we need to pin your video.
Couldn't you help us on this? That's better. Thank you. No. You're the chair. I'm the helper outer. I'm the mute guy. That's all I am.
Bob, do you think that we should go ahead and just get started? Because what if she's having issues getting pulled over and trying to find a place and getting
She
logged
just
in?
came on. Commissioner
I'm
Brzezowski.
I'm here, present.
Great, thank you so much. Okay. All right, now you can get started and.
Yeah,
do the roll
my
call.
glasses on.
Okay.
Yeah, well, okay, so the meeting will begin and roll call, please.
Commissioner Burling,
Here.
Commissioner Brzezowski,
Here.
Commissioner Mickey,
Here.
Commissioner Sowers.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, so for public appearances, the members of the public are entitled to speak on matters of municipal concern not on the agenda during public appearances. Each person's comment shall be limited to 3 minutes or otherwise established by the commission. Matters not appearing on commission's agenda will not receive action at this meeting, but may be referred to staff for a future meeting. Persons are not required to give their names, but it's helpful for speakers to state their names so that they may be identified in the minutes of the meeting. Are there anyone for public appearances?
There's no one here in the council chambers. I guess you would open it up to Zoom world.
Okay,
We have
May I speak, Commissioner Burling?
but who is that?
Who's this?
Oh, Dale?
This is Michael McWalters, Scenic Road 2 north of 11th.
All right, you have the floor. You have 3 minutes.
Oh, great, thank you. Last night at the Planning Commission meeting, Planning Director Swanson announced that the staff's draft wireless ordinance would be presented to the public sometime in late January, early February, and then there would be a workshop. And the reason I'm calling the Beach and Forest Commission is I was reading the design 1.5, and I was happy to see the draft 1.5, and I was happy to see the words forest canopy prominent throughout the document. And then I did some research on the 5G antennas that some people want to install in our village. And it turns out that the 5G antennas can only be spaced about 250 feet apart in order to work. And on one of my walks, I walk on Scenic up to Ocean, then up to Carmelo, all the way down Carmelo to Santa Lucia, and I make that loop. So I counted 13 5G antennas for Carmelo. That's just for one provider. You have to do, if you do one thing for one provider, you have to do it for all of them. So that would be 13 antennas for Verizon, 13 for Sprint, 13 for AT&T, 13 for T-Mobile. That's 52 antennas per street in the rectangle. If we take the rectangle going up to San Carlos, that's over 415 5G antennas in that little square. Problem is that these antennas can't work unless there's a clear line of sight. In other words, if they put it up and then the next one is 250 feet down the street or up the street, it needs a clear pathway in order to work. What does that mean? That means trees that are in the way have to be removed. Tree branches that are in the way have to be cut back. And the reason I'm calling Forest and Beach is I would like your help with the Planning Commission to make our wireless ordinance as restrictive as we can make it, which means that as part of the restriction, one of our neighbors groups is called Stop the Cell Tower in Carmel neighborhoods. They hired a telecom attorney named Andrew Campanelli, and he wrote an ordinance. And by the way, you're probably already familiar with this website, but it's Carmel-by-the-Sea, essentially devoted to all of the issues around this wireless industry. And the point is that he has 4 tests that he requires the wireless companies have to use in order to prove they have a significant gap in service. Because the last time we had in fact, it's still going on, if you remember the big brouhaha when Verizon wanted to put their tower next to the La Playa on Carmelo and 8th. And
Good time.
Yeah. Is that it? Or maybe
Did you?
okay, I'm sorry for that interruption. So they didn't actually
No,
prove that
your
they had a
3 minutes
gap in service.
Your 3 minutes are up, so could you wrap it up, please? This is interesting.
Good. So what I would like to ask all of you to do is to go to carmelunderground.org. Please read all of the articles, especially watch the video by Andrew Campanelli. And we need your help in impressing upon the Planning Commission the need to be as strict as we can in preventing the invasion of cell towers and 5G antennas. Thank you for allowing me this time. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Now, Shirley Moon. Shirley, do you have something? Shirley?
Yes, I'm sorry. I just wanted to report that Scenic Pathway did get cleaned up this morning, and we're almost back to probably 90% normal. Took 21 hours for the gardeners and another 10 of volunteers. And they had a huge trailer full of debris, but it's almost back to normal. And the second thing I wanted to say was on the city website, there is a Take Our Survey button, and it is still making a reference to the bench survey. It seems like we could remove that and just put up there, no survey to take at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shirley. And Dale, I think you're next. Dale? He's got his hand up. Dale Byrne, do you want to
Yeah,
talk?
I'm here. Sorry, the timer was taking up the whole screen and it finally went away. Thank you, Shirley, for getting the crew out today. I know you've been chomping at the bit to get out there. The rain has clearly slowed down Carmel Cares. This is Dale Byrne from Carmel Cares, and we appreciate Shirley's efforts. I'm sure you guys do too. A couple things. One, since we haven't been able to go out and do our thing lately a lot, we decided to have some planning meetings at the beginning of this year, and we've had six or seven, depending on whether it's Monday or Wednesday, of our leadership team at the Harrison Library's wonderful gathering room, which we never have used before. It's really great. And we spent about 4 hours doing detailed planning for all of our projects and programs, and it's a lot. And then we're putting numbers to that so we can have budget and also prioritize everything. We're planning to have a document that we're going to share. It's all online, by the way, and I would love to share with all of you how you can get to all of our detailed planning documents. I can probably send an email to all of you, and we look forward to getting feedback from you. It's a living, breathing document. Bob and yes, and Sarah and I developed this concept 2.5 years ago, and we sort of got away from it, but we're going to go back to it. We're going to take our list, and then we're having a meeting. I believe it is next Wednesday on the 18th. Public Works is then hopefully going to share their wish list, especially things that coincide with the types of things we do. And we're going to put our heads together and sort of find ways that we can work cooperatively. Not that we don't, but we think we can do a better job of making sure we're not duplicating efforts. And then we'll be working on our budget numbers with the budget numbers for Sarah's forestry team and the landscaping part of it to push the council to dedicate as many funds as we think we need. And we've got a big group that will help lobby for that in a positive way. So that's exciting. It looks really good. The other thing that's a little frightening to me personally is I heard on the news today that in Sacramento, first of all, there are a couple trees that fell and destroyed a couple houses right next to each other. And they said they took down well over 1,000 trees in Sacramento, or 1,000 trees fell down. I ran into Mike and the forestry team yesterday, and he said he was amazed that we've only lost something like 30. I don't know what it's up to now, Sarah, but clearly there are a lot more that could come down in this town. And so I hope over time, in the near future, that we put a lot of effort into taking a close look at some of the dangerous trees in town, because some of them are on some friends of my property. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dale. Cindy Lloyd, do you have something?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Commissioner, Chair Burling and fellow commissioners and city staff. My name is Cindy Lloyd. I have one concern, and it does involve a tree. It's a skinny cypress tree that was planted in the well right at the bottom of the steps from the Carmel Art Association. And when it was planted, I had a concern about it because it was going to grow up into a healthy oak tree. What it has done is it's grown up very tall and skinny, and the limbs where people would run into it have been taken off. But if you look at the sidewalk, the roots are now lifting the sidewalk in several places, and they're going right towards the chalk rock steps that were laid when the Art Association was first opened. My concern is that for a tree that is not looking terribly, it's probably healthy, but it's not looking terribly beautiful, and it is and has grown into the healthy oak that was there, it now has roots that could have the possibility and clear potential to disrupt the beautiful chalk rock steps that are historic. So rather than go through an application and all that, I wanted to make you aware of it, whether or not you want to put it on a future agenda or you'd like me to do a more formal application to have it looked at. I'm at your direction, but thank you very much for listening to me. Bye.
Thank you, Cindy. Is there anyone else?
I don't see anyone else's hand raised at this time, Sarah.
Okay, so consent agenda.
Yeah, so now you're closing the public
Okay,
appearance,
we're closing the public appearances
and
and,
then there's announcements.
okay, and so announcements. You have.
Okay,
announcements.
yeah, I have some announcements, Chair. Okay, it's me. I'm Bob Guerreri, Public Works Director. I have, I think, 4 announcements today. First of all, appreciate some last minute scrambling to make this meeting happen. What happened is that because of the Salinas River is peaking with the possibility of closure on Highway 68 and or Highway 1, city staff that lives north or east of Salinas River were asked to stay home and work remotely today. That includes Sebastian, who is our IT, and Joel. Those are our IT experts who are normally here in the council or in the city hall, and they allow us to have live video meetings, as well as hybrid with Zoom. And today, because they were sent home and not physically here at City Hall, we kind of had to scramble. So we're Chair Merlin and I are working off of this laptop instead of the usual city system. But we're here. This is being recorded. It's a live meeting. It's still open to the public in the council chambers. There was a gentleman from Carmel Cares who came and went home and said, "Oh, this would be better at home on Zoom," and he probably was right. So anyway, appreciate. I called the some of the commissioners about an hour ago and said, hey, you know what, can you do the tour of inspection and then hurry on home and zoom in? So that's what you guys have done, and we appreciate that. So special circumstances, it kind of shows a ripple effect of how the storms, not just knocking down trees, but it even impacts meetings at City Hall. So that's the first announcement. Second announcement, I'm sure you all who are joined in want to hear about our storm damage update. Now in the Foresters and the Public Works Director's monthly reports, those are for the month of December. So those are in the packet that explains what happened in that month. Obviously, the storms have been the last 2 weeks in the month of January. So we both Sarah Forester Davis and myself will give a quick overview of the estimated number of trees lost, other damage, road closures, things of that nature during our updates and under orders of business. To cut to the chase, to answer questions ahead of time, no, we don't have any exact cost estimates or timelines to make these repairs. We're still assessing damage, and you know, we're at the beginning point, and we have more storms incoming as soon as tomorrow. Third announcement, we did receive correspondence. Oh, this kind of, well, we received two items of correspondence. One was from Pamela Shepard. It's in your packet. It's also available at the dais today. This is regarding some correspondence with the Forester. This item was not on the agenda. And since that person did not appear, I would suggest for the record, if we can, Madam Chair, that we consider that a public appearance in written form. But it was not per an item on the agenda. There was also an item, I'm sorry, or also correspondence from Mr. Hilliard. Hilliard, and regarding the one public hearing item, and that was also sent out to the commissioners, and it's also available here. So those are the two comment correspondence we got, and just wanted to remind those who wish to speak, if it's a public comment, you're limited to 3 minutes. We're trying to be more consistent as we have in the past. And for applicants that have an item on the agenda, there's certainly want them to hear. I'm sure the commission wants to hear from them. They have 10 minutes to speak. If there's more than one applicant, let's say it's an applicant and an arborist or whatever, collectively there's 10 minutes for the applicant and their guests to speak on their matter, on behalf of their matter. Those are my 4 announcements, Madam Chair. Back to you for the consent agenda.
Okay, so we will consider the consent agenda now. Items on the consent agenda are routine in nature and do not require discussion or independent action. Members of the commission or the public may ask for any items to be considered individually for purposes of commission discussion and or public comment. Unless that is done, one motion may be used to adopt all the recommended actions. And on our consent agenda, we have to approve the minutes for December 8th.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda from December 8th.
Okay, somebody second that?
I can second that. This is Commissioner Brzezowski.
I want to ask if there's any public comments.
Are there any public comments about this? Okay, not hearing any. So those in favor of
We'll do a roll call.
Okay.
Event.
All right, Commissioner Burling,
yes.
Commissioner Brzezowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Mickey,
Yes.
Commissioner Sowers.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion has passed.
Now we will have the public hearings to approve or deny the removal of 2 Monterey pines on private property at Viscano Avenue 11 southeast of Mountain View. And yes,
Tree permit number.
pardon me.
You'll read the permit number.
Oh, okay, the tree permit number is 22-173 And,
Turn that over to the city forester, Davis, for her presentation.
oh, okay, Sarah, are you there?
I'm here, thank you. I'm gonna share my screen real quick so you can see what we're looking at. Alrighty, so this permit application is to remove 2 Monterey pines. A registered consulting arborist was retained by the property owner, Ms. Lehman, to do some more invasive testing to prove that the tree, in fact, is a good candidate. Trees are good candidates for removal. The first tree is towards the back of the property here. It's starting to go into decline. The canopy is thinning, and there's a presence of turpentine beetle at the base. That's one of the really intrusive pests that can really disrupt the flow of water and nutrients throughout the tree. And that's typically the first sign that the tree is definitely going into decline. The second tree here is a larger tree. And that one we did the resistance drilling on, and you can see these super fancy grafts that are here. Nope, we didn't include the grafts, sorry. But basically what was done is a special drill was inserted into the trunk at different points. You can see where the flags are. And this drill measures how much resistance is in the wood. So the more difficult it is for the drill to go into the tree, the more resistance it gets. The less resistance that you can see is rotten wood or decayed wood. It's not there anymore. So based on the number of drillings that went on with this tree and the amount of decay that was found, I'm supportive of approving the removal permit for this tree because there is so little holding wood left. This tree does have a higher likelihood of falling, especially from the base. Additionally, it is much safer for tree workers to work in trees that still have some green to them and some water. So it makes everyone a little bit safer all the way around. So my recommendation is to approve the removal permit and require the planting of 2 upper canopy trees.
Ask somebody to speak up.
Well, ask if the commissioners have any questions for Sarah first.
Okay, so do any of the commissioners have any questions to Sarah Davis?
This is Commissioner Sowers.
Yeah.
Sarah, hey, I just had again kind of re-emphasizing, since this is a public forum for our residents to understand. Just because I'm from constituents that I've been talking to specifically over the last month and a half, given all these storms, and the perception from the residents that we're a little more tree favored than not in the commission, at least in the residents that I had spoken to. And I know we've talked about the process that people that want to have trees removed go through. And does the technique where they're doing the drilling and doing the grafts, does that better support a resident's capability to ask a tree to be removed from your viewpoint? And is that something that we put out there to the general residents' public knowledge, that would be helpful in their support around your assessment of an approval on a removal?
Yes, so if I go to a location that has a tree that on first inspection doesn't look to be a tree that I have the authority to allow to be removed per the city code, I encourage the property owner to have a consulting arborist do some testing on that tree. In this case, this was a tree that initially it wasn't looking so bad, so I encouraged the property owner to retain that consulting arborist, and that's when we got the drilling results back. So yes, I do tell people if I don't have the authority, I'll ask them to provide more evidence so I can make a better determination and to bring it to the commission when required.
So, and just as a question, because I know we've reviewed some trees where we've had an arborist present its findings, and yet even though they may have wanted to remove it, we've denied it. And my question would be, again, at least in the cases I remember, some of those that we did deny, there was no drilling with a graphing capability on those trees. And so again, is that just something that we in general, not necessarily enforce, but recommend that a resident that wants to have a tree removed provide as additional backup to a removal application?
Yes, they are encouraged to do so.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other commissioners who have a question? Does anyone want to make a motion?
That's the applicant
Oh, is she?
on the online. If the applicant wants to speak, that would be the time.
Oh, yes. Hi, I'm Gail Lehman, and I am the one of the applicants along with my husband. Good afternoon, commissioners, and I want to thank you all for your service, and thank you, Sarah, for the visits that you've done and the discussions that we've had. I appreciate it. I just wanted to give a little background. My husband and I are probably what you call tree lovers, but I also value human life a little bit more than the bark. And when we did have Justin Ono and Frank out, their decision was that it would be important to verify by drilling through the tree. And if none of you have ever seen it, it's a great instrument. It spits out, as it drills, it has a piece of paper that comes out of the machine and shows, it looks like an EKG, if any of you have seen that. And so the ink will show as it's going through the bark that there are lines going up and down, and like the tree is alive. And then when it got to the center, it flatlined. He turned to me and he said, "There's nothing in the middle. The core is gone." And so it was pretty scary. And because we were trying to get it down before the storms, we started this process in December. And I realize we're not very far into January, but we've had some horrible weather and since we've done the tests. And we're so concerned. I spoke to my next door neighbor because it's not if, I guess when it falls, it will take out my studio. And until it's rebuilt, I really don't have a place to work. So I can't produce anything. And then, of course, it will take out my neighbor's house, my next door neighbor's house, Steve's house. And it will most probably take out the house to the south of Steve. So I think it's really important that I'm asking you to approve this removal. So thank you, and thank you for your time.
Does anyone else want to make a comment?
Thank you. I just wanted to mention, this is Commissioner Mickey, that I did have an opportunity to take a look at the tree about 3 o'clock. And Sarah has approved these trees to be taken down, but she did point out various things on the trees that had shown us that it was in a decline, including as we exited, there were several mushrooms and small mushrooms sort of as we were leaving, that you could see there was some decay there going on. So I certainly saw that. And I just wanted to ask Sarah, the trees were very large. I didn't hear an answer when I was there, but it appeared as though the trees were in the 80 to 100 year age timeframe. And just wanted to ask you if you could comment on what you thought that their ages were at this point.
Yeah, that age time frame seems reasonable. Without taking a core sample, I couldn't say for 100% certain, but that seems about the right age for that size of a tree.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Does anyone want to make a motion?
Can we do a public comment before you close?
Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Okay, maybe it's a public question as opposed to a comment. Brian, thanks for bringing up that, I think it's called a resistograph, the machine. We studied it in our horticulture class last year. And I was wondering if one of the commissioners could have a discussion with Gail about who she used to do that and how much it cost. I did something online. It said it's like $25 per drilling and you need 5 to 7 of them. But I think based on Brian's question and Sarah's answer to it, it's a valuable thing for the people listening in to know. Thank you.
Dale,
Dale,
do you want me to respond to that?
yes, go ahead.
Sure. Justin did the drilling. He's a master certified arborist, as is his father, and Frank is retiring. And Justin was a pleasure to work with. Because he did reports on both trees, the cost was $600, which I thought was pretty fair considering the time that he came out several times, and I thought it was fairly reasonable. Taking the trees out is very expensive now, and I understand that people are very, very busy because of all the trees that have fallen. So in the city of Carmel, so I'm hoping that we'll be able. We've had a couple of bids already, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to get someone as soon as possible.
Okay, Maria Sutherland.
Yes, Maria Sutherland from Friends of Carmel Forest. I'm just wondering if it's possible to replant. As we know, we're losing so much canopy. So would that be a condition of taking the trees down? That would be my question.
I think Sarah already established that on the permit, and we agreed to plant 2 trees. I would request, we have a lot of oaks on the property. Additionally, as you've seen, we have 2 lots, so we have room. After we split off the 1 lot and built the house to the north of us, we planted 20 trees, 10 at the rear, the east property line, and 10 at the north. And we did California wax myrtles, and they've just done great. And another species of which none of us can remember the name of, but we will figure it out one day. So we have already added a lot of trees. There was a little sprig that popped up while we were under construction, and it became that big pine tree that's now in the front yard. It's kind of amazing. It's 5.5 years, and it was a little sprig. It was about that big, and it's become a big tree now, and it's up to the PG&E wires. So it's there. We have some gorgeous oaks. We have 2 big clusters of oaks, and so we have a lot of trees. And we added because of the oak that was leaning on the Hilliard house. We planted another tree in the front. Our preference would be to do something more ornamental rather than another upper canopy, because we're a little scared of the upper canopies now. And we definitely would not plant pine anymore, because they are not only so shallow rooted, which we see all the time when we build, but they are very flammable, certainly as flammable as the eucalyptus. So, and I know Sarah has some other suggestions on the list, on the city list of what we can plant. But our preference would be to keep it to the lower canopies.
Okay, thank you.
So the commission determines how many new trees will be required. I recommended 2 upper canopy trees so that the property would meet the density recommendation in the code. That's just my recommendation.
But they could pay $800 in lieu fee for each tree not replanted. Is that right, Sarah, from what it says here?
Yes, if that's what you, as a commission decide, that can be an option.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Does she already, does Gail have an opinion on what sort of a tree that she would like to plant?
Well, she just said that.
I didn't hear the tree type. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I think you're still thinking of it, aren't you, Gail? That-
If I may, this is, if the commission decides to allow the applicant to plant 2, what she called it, ornamental trees in lieu of
Okay.
the 2 upper
Two
canopies,
upper canopies.
that's up to the commissioners to decide in terms of which species of ornamental, or for that matter, which species of upper canopy. That's something the applicant usually works out with the forester directly on an
Okay.
administrative level. So really the question for the commission is, if you first, do you require replanting, and if so, can it be money, the in lieu fee? Should it be upper canopy? Should it be ornamental? So that's the decision to be made by the commission.
I'd like to make.
This is Commissioner Brzezowski. May I ask a question?
Who's this? Oh, go ahead.
This is, I think, a question to Sarah. It sounded like the applicant had planted at least 20 trees when they were speaking. You had said they needed 2 upper canopy to be to code. I'm just curious if you could comment on the other trees on the property that are there presently. It sounds like there might be a lot.
Yes, so currently there are 3 upper canopy trees with the removal of 2. That would leave 1, and that would leave us with a remainder of 20 lower canopy trees.
Recommendation. So I'd like to make some comment. First of all, it's a recommendation, not mandatory, that there be 2 upper canopy trees. I think when a person on a lot, this is a little larger lot than the usual, but it already has 20 trees, and clearly they're very interested in trees. It's not as though they're trying to denude their lot. So I would like to make the motion that the removal of both trees, as Sarah Davis has suggested, be allowed, and that the family can decide whether they want to plant 2 ornamental trees or whatever, or pay $800 in lieu fee for each tree not replanted. Is there a second?
I'd like to second that motion. This is Commissioner Mickey. I'd like to second that motion.
Okay, Tama. Okay, good. So are we ready to vote?
Yes. Commissioner Burling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brzezowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Mickey,
Yes.
Commissioner Sowers.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion is passed.
One other point, this is just to clarify on the arborist. It's my understanding, and Sarah, you might be able to reiterate this. My understanding is that Ono arborists are the only one arborist in the Monterey Peninsula that have that particular tool to do the serial graph on the trees. Is that your understanding as well, Sarah?
they typically are the firm that is contracted to do the work. I'm unaware of anyone else that has one on the peninsula. However, there are some of the larger companies that do similar work, but they work out of Santa Cruz.
Right down to you.
Yeah, Davy Tree Experts and West Coast Arborists, they also offer that
Go
service.
back to the agenda.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to orders of business.
Okay, we now will move on to orders of business, which are agenda items that require city council, board, or commission discussion, debate, direction to staff, and/or action. The first one is to receive a presentation regarding Public Works Department's highlights in 2022.
Okay, that'll be over to me. Thank you, Madam Chair. Let's see, I wanted to do a PowerPoint presentation. Do I have to share my screen? Can you help me with that?
Hover over the very bottom of the screen. You should see
Better
a
yet, I have
bar.
Nova's helping.
Just make sure the meeting host has allowed screen sharing.
Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Yeah, that is in the way. They're still there.
We can see the screen and we can hear everything you're saying.
Wait, no, can you minimize this so that, because it's going to be blocking some of our verbiage in the slides. Oh, there you go. Okay, thank you so much. All right, back to me. All right, there's a staff report that accompanies this. We do have 2 new commissioners that I'm glad are here today on Zoom. So this hopefully this will be more meaningful to them. The commissioners that have been on the commission for a few years have seen presentations like this before, so don't want to bore them. Maybe just update them. You can't go home, sorry. But you can take a nap if you wish. You can do whatever you want. You're the chair. So again, this is kind of give a more of an overview for the newer commissioners, as well as talk about the big picture of Public Works Department. Now, in each and every meeting each month, we talk about forestry and parks and beach related things, which is really the core of the Forest and Beach Commission, which is great. And that's Sarah Davis's division is forestry and parks and beach. But there's four other divisions within the Public Works Department, and I wanted to kind of touch base that all the department works as a whole. It's holistic, and there's other divisions that interplay with the forestry division. So it's not a standalone division. We all work together. So I wanted to kind of point that out. And then at the end of my presentation, I'm encouraging members of the public and members of the commission to ask questions about why we do what we do in our daily operations, or recommendations for ways we could possibly improve. We could take a look at that for future meetings. And also, we're coming up in a couple of months to the annual budget process, which starts in the fiscal year. Next fiscal year starts July 1st, but in April and May, we'll be presenting to council recommendations for our budget, as well as recommendations for capital improvement projects. Capital improvement projects are things that last at least 10 years and cost at least $10,000. So if there's recommendations from this commission, it could be beautification, it could be infrastructure on the beach, it could be repairing beach stairs because of the storms, whatever. We can certainly take that information at the end of this presentation and use that as a starting point for when we gear up to do the budgeting process. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And with that, I'll get started. Like, how do I do the next slide? There it is. Okay. Oh, can you see? Okay, on the left, this is your Public Works team, or at least most of them. We had a team building pumpkin carving contest at Halloween, and My team lost, but I think it's because the police chief, who was the judge, was a bit unfair. But anyway, he is biased. But anyway, no, it was a lot of fun. And on the right, this is Bruce Lee. He is the Public Works Department mascot. And for those of you who know, Cleve Waters is our facility maintenance supervisor. That is his dog. That he's been in our office a number of times, and he's just so adorable that we decided to make him our mascot. And if you notice the proportion of the size of the mascot relative to all the people we have, you can kind of see where our priorities are. Okay, this is how the Public Works Department is structured. The picture on the left, this is our beautiful, fancy Taj Mahal building. It's on Junipero, on the east side of Junipero, between 4th and 5th. It's the same building as the police station. It looks different from the street, but it's really one and the same building. Our department is the director and administration. That's myself and Yvette. Those two boxes on the top. We have 5 operating divisions. We have environmental programs, facility maintenance, forest, parks, and beach, which you know most about, project management, and street maintenance. Overall, we're in fiscal year 22-23. We're half done with that budget. We had a $4.2 million operating budget, which, to be honest, we're going to go over, and hopefully I don't get beat up too much. We have 36. Let me back up. Because of COVID, council froze all capital projects for almost 2 years. Now that with COVID was lifted and there's a big backlog of projects, they refunded the projects from prior years and added more projects. So this current fiscal year, although we have a couple completed, this current fiscal year, we have 37 capital improvement projects valued at $9 million. When talking to prior directors, they would do $250,000 a year for many years and years past. So we're really having a record-breaking capital improvement program. And my department, we have 22 full-time equivalent positions. Proud to announce that all of our field staff are filled. That's 12 people. We have currently 8 office staff, including Sarah and myself and Yvette. And we have one of the 2 remaining positions. We made an offer. We might have a new person on board as soon as February. So keep your fingers crossed. Sure could use the help. I think that's it for that page. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the 5 divisions, some highlights of calendar year 2022. The first one is environmental programs. And the highlight there is they were involved with the climate committee, which I've mentioned several times along the way in commission meetings. Back last year, the council adopted the climate action and climate adaptation plans. And of course, there's a number of projects that spin off of that impact many forestry, many beach projects in the future. One of them is we launched the Coastal Engineering and Beach Sands Study project. That's $175,000 project. The consultant is contracts awarded, their work in progress. Commissioner Sowers pointed out, hey, when the waves were pounding on the ocean or pounding on the shore, on the beach, and on the beachfront, hey, this would be great for these guys to go out there. And he was right. And fortunately, the consultants were already there. So it's maybe the one and only blessing of all these storms is that we had the experts right there on the beach as the waves were beating the crap out of the beach, I guess. Environmental programs, they also work on it's Senate Bill 1383, that's organics recycling, trash recycling, and public outreach. There's a lot of regulatory requirements to that program. It's for homeowners, yes, you have to recycle and all that, but from a city perspective, we have to monitor. You might have heard of the lid flipping. There's programs, there's reports, there's a number of things regulatory things that have to be done in concert with CalRecycle. They're working on the electric vehicle charging stations and fleet conversion. We're in the early process now of adding, I think, 3 or 4 vehicle charging stations at the Vista Lobos parking lot. They do the annual stormwater compliance report as required by the State Water Quality Control Board. It's the most technical report every year that I've ever seen in my 40-year career. They also do ASBS watershed monitoring. I think the last couple of meetings we talked about a dog fecal matter in the near ocean waters. And this is part of that ASBS watershed monitoring. We also have copper issues. Copper is a little bit easier to control. And we're working on that. And we're also in the process of updating our stormwater ordinance for the city to meet all the current regulatory requirements. And also environmental programs manages two sensitive habitat areas. It's the Mission Trail Nature Preserve, certainly working closely with Sarah on tree and landscaping type issues, as well as the North Dunes Habitat Restoration Area. And Agnes Martelet is our environmental compliance manager. She has been at the commission meetings in the past. Hopefully in the near future, we'll go back to the commission with an update on the North Dunes as well as Mission Trails. We're trying to do annual updates to the commission so you know what's going on in those two sites. Next is facility maintenance. Well, what does facility maintenance have to do with forestry? Well, I'll just read the bullets. For Forest Theater renovations. Forest Theater is a park site, and thanks to Dale and the Rotary Club and Carmel Cares, the commission approved the major landscape renovation that was put in a few months ago. That's great, but we also were working with the PAC rep on, we added the stage truss and we did the stage floor and electrical work. We are about to release a request for proposal for the Scout House renovation project to hire an entity or a contractor to renovate the Scout House at no cost to the city. And then that entity would conduct activities programming and manage the facility for years to come. That's kind of similar to what happened with Forest Theater, but it's a little different because it's Scout House. Facility maintenance have done a number of improvements this past year for the fire station and the two public libraries. Although, of course, there's always things to be done at City Hall and Public Works and whatever. They have the annual ADA compliance upgrades. We've made a number of upgrades at park restroom sites. And in fact, we were getting quotes to install ADA railing at Piccadilly Park. So it ties in with parks. They manage the janitorial contract, and the janitors maintain the park restrooms, like say at a Del Mar parking lot, 4 times a day in the summer. And if they're a half hour late, we know about it. we get on them and we get them down there. And they support facility renovation projects. So there, if you read the Friday letter, which I hope you all do, recently we replaced the barbecue grills at Vista Lobos. We put in LED lighting in the Devendorf Park restroom. So facility maintenance, again, ties in with parks and facilities. Forestry, Parks and Beach, I won't, you know this, just quick recap. You know, last year Sarah won a $150,000 CAL FIRE grant and kicking off the urban forest management plan and be planting 100 trees in that process. I think she's going to mention that more in her update. Last fall, we awarded a 3-year on-call landscape maintenance contract. And if you recall, that there was a 2-year gap during COVID where we had no landscape contract. And that's when Carmel Cares stepped up and helped us out. And even with Carmel Cares, their heroic efforts and city staff and the contractor, we still have a sizable, noticeable quantity of work to be done and maintaining our landscaping and the quality that this town deserves. We are out to bid on a 3-year tree services contract. We would have multiple on-call tree contractors. In fact, we were going to have a bid opening the other day. No, I'm sorry, a pre-bid meeting the other day, and the contractors are scrambling because of the storm damage. So we postponed things for 2 weeks, but it's still in progress. You might have noticed that forestry, and the forestry's division consists of Sarah Davis as the forester, Tom Ford is the administrative analyst who's been helping us write these staff reports. And we have 3 field people, a tree care specialist, maintenance worker, and a gardener, I think it is. But again, it's complemented with the other divisions who help out, as well as forestry field staff helping out streets and facilities at times. And if I may, I really was impressed with our field crews' capability for tree work last year. They learned a lot. We got some new staff, with really great skills. So I think our ability to do tree work and minimize our contractors' work has been a step in the right direction. We still need them for large projects, of course, or for storms, but we're a little bit less reliant on contractors to do our tree work as we have in the past. Project management, this is the group that manages our capital improvement projects. We mentioned 37 projects. Council hired 3 program management consultants that are managing 17 of those 37 projects. One of the projects is our annual paving project that has been on hold for 2 years. That project includes the potential of the San Carlos Meeting Island landscaping project, which is something that was presented to the commission. There'll be a public workshop on those meeting islands on January the 26th. So stand by for that. You'll all be invited. Concrete street repairs. I mentioned the bike pathway along Ocean Avenue from Monte Verde to San Antonio. That was discussed a few times at the commission meeting in the past. The city council awarded the contract for the design of that project, and by a little surprise move, decided to eliminate that bike path. So there will not be that bike path on Ocean. The Mission Trail, there's 3 drainage projects. We're getting close to going out to bid. We're getting the regulatory permits now, and that would alleviate some of the storm mess we're getting on the south end of Serra Trail near Rio Road. So, and then that's one of the reasons we closed Mission Trail Park this week. Another project is to remove the well or to abandon the well, remove the tank, remove the pump house and the power pole in the park. We have the police building renovation, which is that's all I can say is laugh. And being my what's that?
Slow going.
It's it's an interesting project. We're going back to council in February for the next step. We have some improvements to the main library. We have painting of the library, painting of Sunset Center, repairing the cottage windows that tend to fall out and crash on the floor. And we're also designing citywide drainage repairs. This is like a many-year program to get rid of the bottlenecks in our system and not scare us so much when the Carmel River rises and we get these kind of storms. Street maintenance, maintain our pavement in good condition. We just got an update from a consultant hired by the Transportation Agency of Monterey County. Our pavement condition number is 75 out of 100. I'm not sure yet. From 2018, our prior pavement was the best in Monterey County. I know our number went down just a hair. I don't know if we're still the best in the county. I sure hope so. We're trying to get confirmation on that. We purchased an electric street sweeper using a $250,000 grant from Central Coast Community Energy. That should be arriving in April. We're building it. We have ongoing downtown sidewalk repairs. A lot of that is because we have a lot of street trees that pop up the sidewalks. They support our traffic safety committee and annual storm drain inspection program. Thank heavens for that, because we haven't had, despite all the rain we haven't any serious drainage problems. And just for a fun fact, on the third photo to the right, that's a football that was stuck in a storm drain on Acacia Way. And that was causing a flooding in that neighborhood for quite some time until we figured out what the heck it was. Volunteers. We couldn't do all we do without our volunteers. And I know Dale's on the line, so he probably knows this already, but Carmel Cares has been doing fantastic efforts with Forest Theater, with enhancements and landscaping. Of course, Shirley Moon's been doing a heroic job on the landscaping renovation along the scenic pathway, and she cleaned it up again today, apparently. Scenic pathway guardrail repairs. Carmel Cares is, we have an approved plan, but we're waiting for quotes on the materials and parts, and we'll be getting started on that hopefully soon. They created this downtown detail community engagement program, which I don't know, I've been here 5.5 years working here, and I've never seen downtown so nice. Maybe not this week with the storms, but it's really looking nice. They also have the Meeting Minders program, which is also really doing a great job. And it's, in my opinion, very innovative in how getting the community, regardless of their skill set or how much hours, they can always help with the upgrade, maintain the medians. Of course, we have the Friends of Carmel Forest. I guess Maria's on the line. We have the Friends of Buster Roundtree Native Plant Garden that have some future plans for some major improvements. We have the Friends of Mission Trail Nature Preserve that have been helpful. They have the Wheaties program every once a month. We have the Garden Club that do their thing, always maintaining the city. Okay, so that's kind of what we've been doing the past year. Had a few challenges. Our biggest challenge in public works is our facility maintenance. And Dale, to cut to the chase, when Carmel Cares meets with the city next Wednesday, I think it is, at our managers meeting update, we're going to talk a lot about the facilities. This is really where we need the most help. We have 6 buildings that are almost at or over 100 years old. City Hall, the Harrison Memorial Library, the First Murphy House, Sunset Center, Flanders Mansion, and the Scout House. 100-year-old buildings that have limited, that had a lot of deferred maintenance, they are falling apart very quickly. And the cost of repairs are going up and up and up. And getting contractors who are available to even come out and help us is becoming harder. In addition to the old buildings, construction and maintenance costs have gone up and up and up. We're getting delays from many contractors and consultants and vendors and suppliers. We all have seen inflation. We have labor shortages. We have fuel costs going up. We have materials availability. We believe that there was a part up in the attic of the police station that kept the chief's office warm, and it was broken. We had to get the replacement part. The replacement part, I don't know where it was shipped from, but if you recall about, I don't know, 6 months ago, there was a huge boat that got stuck in the sand in the Suez Canal. Remember when kind of went sideways, it got stuck in the sand? Our part, we think, was on that boat. So that's the kind of stuff, really crazy things. Urban forest decline, I don't need to tell you that, but again, the years of drought, age of a lot of our, especially Monterey pines, the diseases that Sarah is an expert in, and certainly these storms are not helping, and the storms of past years are not helping. And implementing climate change resiliency, it ties in with our climate action and adaptation plans. We have a whole lot of work to do to brace ourselves for the impacts of climate change. So it's kind of like a monumental task. We're starting, we're making some progress, but it's a huge, vast task. I'm on the home stretch. This is infrastructure summary. I'm a member of the American Society of Civil Engineers, so I kind of looked at it from that perspective. The ASCE group has a national infrastructure report card that you might have seen, world news or whatever. Hey, the nation's railroads are a C-. The nation's airports are probably an F or something. So I was involved with that years ago in Southern California. So what I did is I made not the American Society of Civil Engineering thorough assessment, I made the Bahari assessment into Carmel. So using the same type of process. And when I look at the grades of these different items of infrastructure, I consider is there adequate funding? What's the condition of them? Are there projects to help fix them? Or are they getting worse? Are things breaking down faster than we're fixing them? So I started in 2017. That's the first column of grades, and last year was 2022. So kind of a 5-year big picture. Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? Our pavement is getting better. We're we're diversifying what pavement repairs we're doing. We're doing concrete streets for the first time in 60 years. We paved Ocean Avenue for the first time since 1961, I believe. We're getting more money from, external funding from TAMC and the state. Sidewalks are going downhill. I'm sorry,
They're better than that, aren't they?
worse than D plus.
Better than.
Sidewalks? Really? You're so kind. No, our sidewalks, again, it's a lot of deferred maintenance. What we've been doing is well, except for the storms, we've been having a crew for the last several months, just one crew, always working on sidewalks, because if we let 6 months go by, there's so many new sidewalk pop-ups that happen. We need to get our arms around it. So sidewalks, I think overall are getting worse. We're starting to tackle it. We're going to put more money in the next CIP next fiscal year to get caught up a little bit. Our drainage system, when I first started, one of my first questions as my engineering background, I said, well, where's our storm drain master plan? And they said, we don't have one. I said, well, isn't the city 103 years old? They said, yes. I go, are we the only city in the United States of America that's 103 years old without a storm drain master plan? Probably. Didn't know what the heck our storm drains were, where they were, how big they were, what the bottlenecks were, where the problems were. Now we have that storm drain master plan. Now we're working on, we have a program of making the repairs. We know exactly where the problems are. We're working with the county on some repairs, working with consultants. We're updating our storm drain master plan. So our storm drain system is much better today than it was 5 years ago. Still have a lot of work to do, but we're on the right track. Facilities, I kept it as a C- because no matter how fast we throw money at things and fix things, they're falling apart. It's probably slipping, if anything, but we're trying. City's fleet, now that we're getting more EV charging stations, a couple of electric vehicles, you see one out here at City Hall. So I think our fleet and our street sweeper, we're getting a new ambulance, we're getting a new a fire engine. So our fleet is improving. Forestry and parks, this is not a reflection on our forestry division by any stretch of imagination. The lower grade, this is my opinion, is because of the drought, the diseases, the age of the pine forest. On the flip side, the urban forest master plan is going to be a wonderful tool to kind of refocus us and get us back on track. And beach and shoreline, be an interesting discussion to have with Commissioner Sowers. I said that it's improving. One of the reasons I thought it was improving is because we're not doing fire pits anymore. And that alone deserved an upgrade. And what's the other thing? There was another thing, but I can't remember. Overall, I can't see the overall. Can anyone see the overall, Nova? What's the overall grades at the bottom of the screen?
C+ now. It was a C-.
Oh, it was C- in 2017. It's C+ in 2022?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're getting better. Oh, there was also measure C, that tax increment measure that was passed by the voters that helped, I think it was C or D. I don't remember. Anyways, a few years ago, that also is helping us to fund those capital projects that we need. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. So some photos. There's our street sweeper on the left. Upper left photo is our street maintenance guys putting new wood chips in the Mist Trail Nature Preserve. Okay, so that's a forestry and parks thing. The forest theater, we have the new truss. We have our mascot. And on the bottom, along the bottom, that's the beachfront. We're looking at the coastal engineering report study. And that's all I have. Sorry for the long presentation. I was hoping to do this in 10 minutes. It didn't work out that way. Happy to answer any questions. And if you have suggestions for how we, maybe different ways of doing things, or looking into things, or looking into potential projects, now would be a great opportunity to do so. It's all you. Over to you.
Are there any comments you want to make?
Hey, Bob, this is Brian. Hey, I think you give yourself tough grades, but I think one thing that would be helpful too is if we go back to that document, is kind of understanding, the different components in the different categories that you kind of come up with your grades on. Just because, if I were to say that, just the help of Carmel Cares to our forestry and parks, takes that grade potentially up a little more than it might be both at beach and shoreline and forestry and parks area. And are you just reflecting this in the city's work, or is it the city overall?
It's intended to be city overall. You're right. In theory, it should include Carmel Cares input, which would certainly bring it up higher. Again, this is not an exact science. I do have some scribbly notes somewhere on my desk to kind of justify these grades, or at least this goes back, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago now, but still, any of these grades could be subject to a healthy debate. But I think it's really, if you look at the big overall picture as opposed to any individual line item, it kind of shows you that we do have some things are getting better, some things are getting worse, some things are the same. But I think the big picture really is overall, we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I would take issue with forestry and parks and beach and shoreline, because I've seen what's kind of transpired with the support of Carmel Cares, and given the fact that we were in a COVID lockdown from the city side of things, and yet, you kind of look at where we were 5 years ago and look at where we're at today. I think, I would be surprised. I would have given myself a little better grading on this, just from the support of the volunteers.
Right. Good comment.
On an overall basis, but anyway.
Okay, are there any other comments? Otherwise, we'll have Sarah Davis give her report.
I had one question. This is Kelly. First, I just want to say thank you for the report, Bob. It was really helpful. I had you made a very quick comment at the very beginning that the number of capital improvement projects, I think, was at 37. It sounded like the volume of projects was significantly higher than what the city is used to managing. And so I'm just curious, do you have any systems or processes in place to track and measure, like not just the progress, but the quality of progress of those projects? Sometimes doing more isn't always healthy if we're not, tracking how we're doing and delivering them.
The short answer is yes. We do have a number of systems in place. We've streamlined our consultant selection process for design by having the statement of qualifications on file. We've standardized our professional service agreements and our construction contracts. We've hired 3 program management consulting firms to supplement our staff. One example would be for facilities. We took 6 projects and lumped them together. So we have the City Hall roof, the main library painting inside and outside, and carpeting and generator, and Sunset Center cottage windows, and Sunset Center exterior painting and hazardous material remediation. We lumped all those projects under one for efficiency, cost effectiveness. We'll have one general contractor. They'll still have a number of subcontractors, but we're going to save money and save time putting all this together instead of 6 separate projects. So yes, there's a number of tools to streamline this, but yes, it is a huge quantity for the size of our city. So we do have a number of tools. In terms of, you asked about the quality. If I don't let any design go out into construction unless I'm comfortable with the quality of it. So once we get something constructed, if you're not happy with the quality of it, come see me. But I can assure you that I've been doing this a long time. And the quality of our projects, I would say, are pretty high. Maybe not perfect, but pretty high. So we're not doing any shoddy work. I'm not saying we might have a shoddy contractor, but then it's done right before they go home. Does that answer your question, Commissioner?
It does. It just sounds like you're handling a really high volume of projects against a high volume of true needs, right? And from all the previous presentations, it sounds like without, like, organizations like Carmel Cares, for example, are contributing significantly to help our city. And it just seems like you may need more help. That's all. Not that you aren't doing a great job, but that, you know, that there's a limit to just how much you can keep adding on in terms of needs,
Yes.
relative to the historical levels that Public Works has been handling. That's all.
Thank you. Yes, I I agree. We need more help.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, Sarah, do you want to do your report, please?
Are you gonna have public comments after both reports?
Oh, okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, Bob, a question. I know we're not supposed to ask questions, but Bob, are you gonna go over your staff report in addition to this, or did this eliminate your staff report?
Now, staff report really focuses on December. This was like the 2022 recap.
So if we have a comment about your staff report, can we do that now, or should we wait till after Sarah?
Please wait. It'll be Sarah for our Forrester report. Then I'll do my December report, and then you
Okay,
can ask
perfect.
away.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Nice report, Bob. I agree with Brian in terms of the beach, but we can talk about that next week. Thank you.
Okay, Sarah.
Oh, was there any other members of the public wish to speak? No? Okay, in that case,
I don't see anyone's hands raised.
okay. Nova, can you help us return the screen? So Sarah's Forrester's report, is that what
So we
you're?
don't. Sarah Davis, yeah.
Sure.
Share the screen.
I'm here. All right, the highlights for December. We got 11 new trees planted, and then it started raining and just off-roaded all of my plans to plant a lot of trees in December, but they're here. We just have to get them in the ground. We were able to kick off our master planning process with our consultants.
How do we see Sarah?
What was
Sorry,
that?
Sarah, we're trying to see you.
Well, I can see you.
No, we can't
wanna
see you.
see
That's
you.
more important. There you are.
All right, so our consultants are starting to work on data collection for our master plan. We got the steering committee for the master plan application completed, and I'm being told our advertisement should be published here tomorrow in the Pine Cone, and we're going to turn that off on the 31st, and then I'll be able to bring those to you for discussion in February. Our landscape contractor is out there doing work. We issued 6 task notices for them in December. Bob mentioned that we're working on getting some new on-call tree contractors. And as part of the design traditions update, planning heard very clearly that we need to do something about our landscape ordinance. So I met with him to talk about, which on-call landscape firm we should have come in to help us with that project. And then just some regular upkeep around town. And here's our right, do I have the right one? Share there. So here's our regular graphs. So you can see this year we are pretty strong on pruning, which that's great. That's just trees that aren't going to be a problem in a storm. Our regular administrative tasks were on the decline in December. We have holidays and time off and that sort of thing, so we weren't out and about as often as we are. But I have a feeling you guys would like to hear about the storm. So I will show you the inner workings of our storm response here. So this is a map of all of the sites that we visited during the storm. Though it was about 88 different sites. So we had 38 public trees come down and 36 branch incidents on public trees. I have record of 14 private tree problems, but I don't hear about all of those all of the time. We did damage, well, there was damage to 7 different structures and 1 car. In all of our cases that we worked on, 24 of those were PG&E was involved. So they had to come out and deactivate, decharge the lines and that sort of thing. Our hotspot seemed to be in this part of town. So pretty much from 1st down to 4th, from Torres over to Guadalupe. That's where the largest number of trees came down. So here we still have PG&E actively working in this part of town. When I checked earlier, power was still off for the entire block, 3 blocks of Santa Fe. So hopefully they'll get all of their work done and cleared out, and we can go see what all happened in that area. So as you can see, we've been busy. So just in these couple of days alone, again, like I said, it was a total of 88 calls for inspections or something to deal with. We do have some items that we're still working on. Those are our blue blobs here. So that's the list of things that we can take care of in our own hands. Our focus really was to prioritize on these black lines. These black lines are our primary evacuation routes out of town. So we're trying to keep those cleared first and then prioritize the most dangerous things from there. So I think we did a pretty good job, except for 2nd, or one of our truck routes has been blocked off for a while. Again, it kind of extends in that hot spot there. So as far as storms go, I mean, it could have been way worse, I think. Do you guys have any questions for me for December and this last week?
Are there any questions?
Maria has her hand up.
Go ahead.
Hi, Sarah. I was just wondering what the total number of trees so far. Bob had mentioned around 30 trees that came down.
Yeah, so there are 38 public trees, 14 private trees. So total, I've been made aware of 52.
Okay, and then I had a question on the replanting percentage. I know the total number of trees were required. That is a place that we could make up for some of, the decline in the forest. So I know 2020 was amazing with a 94.9% replanting rate. But I think it kind of comes in drops. For instance, the property owner that we heard from earlier today, we're not requiring them to replant per se. They can get out of it. So just these little drops, it adds up. And you can see that because the replanting isn't equal the permit removals, this is why another reason that the forest is in decline, and it is a place where we could plug the holes in the boat and require more replanting.
Yes, for sure. So I would point you towards our table. It's titled 2022 permitted removals and required plantings. You'll notice that in some cases, there's just no room for a new tree. And in many cases, the property already has met the density recommendations that is in code. So those two factors come into play. So if there is room, replanting is required for a good chunk of the removal. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, hearing none, I think it is over to Bob.
Did we lose them?
I don't, it kind of looks like maybe we lost them. I'm just confirming that they're not on the participant list any longer, so maybe they're coming back in.
Okay, bye. Okay, bye.
That just got off the phone with them.
Yeah, their battery went dead, so I'm gonna let them back in. Okay, they should be in now. Do you think that this is a sign that Bob doesn't need to give his director's report?
I could maybe wing it.
I thought they were on, but now I don't see them again.
Hello?
Oh, there you are, Bob. Okay, we can hear you and see you
Okay.
now. Bob, we thought this was a sign that you didn't need to give your director's report.
Boy, that was so tempting. No, ironically, we're on a laptop in these emergency circumstances. 5 minutes before we went offline, there's a little thing that says battery low. I saw it. I go, battery low. Okay, good. We have at least an hour. 4 minutes, it just disconnected. So Nova, thank the Nova to get us back up and running. So we're live again. So Madam Chair, you want to introduce me again? I'll do a very short Public Works report. Okay, all right. Now this will be for the month of December. Again, apologize for the glitch. I'll make this quick.
We had a really short meeting if nobody hadn't been here.
We would have been gone home. Okay, so a monthly report. No city council actions related to forestry, parks and beach, other than the bike lane on Ocean Avenue was removed. It's the only thing report. Forestry, parks and beach related capital improvement projects. Over in Mission Trail Nature Preserve, this is the project where we have the water tank and the well and the pump station that we're going to be removing. There was a power pole with a PG&E meter that was running. So we had to chase it down with PG&E, and it was still running, charging to the city, and we had no idea why. So we did an experiment. We disconnected it. Let's see. Wait any day for a phone call from a neighbor. Hey, I got no power. What's going on here? No one ever called. So we sent PG&E to remove the meter, and they did that late December.
Isn't that interesting?
So first of all, it's kind of a a big question, why are we paying for a meter to nowhere? The meter's gone. When we remove the pump station and the tank, we'll also remove the power pole. So that's a little bit of good news. And also, Mission Trail, we talked about the
Oh, darn, he's frozen. Looks like we're gonna have to cut Bob short.
Hmm. Okay.
Bastion, is there anything I need to do on my end?
Oh, he just dropped off again. Okay, we'll see if
He's calling me. Okay, hold on. All right, commissioners. So they have no internet connection. Technical difficulties. Commissioner Burling did say that we go ahead and call the meeting. If any public has any public comment, if you could email that to me. And if any of the commissioners have any public comment about Bob's director's report or Sarah's forester's report, you can email me whatever information that you have.
This is Dale. How do we get your feedback or comments on subjects that we would like to get some action on?
It's Dale, you'll just have to email me and we'll have to ask Nova how to deal with this. This is not a situation that we've ever had before, or at least since I've been here. So maybe we can follow up at the next meeting.
Okay.
You know, just because of the special circumstances that we're under right now.
Okay, so send to Nova and then
No,
will
send to
distribute
me.
it to everyone. Okay.
Send to me, Yvette.
Okay. Yvette. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's easy. All right. I will put a packet together that'll be probably more comprehensive than my 3 minutes because I might as well at this point. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Is everyone good with that?
I would just say, Yvette, unless you want, I think you have a quorum of commissioners if you want to let the public comment portion happen, just so that people have the opportunity for that, and or unless you'd like to take it all by email.
It is being recorded.
Yeah, I guess we could do that, but I don't, yeah, we do have a quorum. There are 3 of you. Sarah, what do you think?
From a
I
purely,
would just hate to slow down any action that maybe needed to result from a public comment. Since the Zoom meeting is being recorded, I think we could collect at least some initial thoughts and maybe follow up later with email correspondence.
Okay.
If the commissioners are open to that.
this is Commissioner Brzezowski. I think from a purely parliamentary perspective, it might be helpful to let anybody that's here that wanted to make public comment to give them their time, since it is being recorded and we still have 3 commissioners on the meeting.
All right. So I guess if any of the commissioners do have a comment. None. All right. Is there anybody in the public that would like to make a public comment? And just remember, please respect the 3-minute time limit.
Yes. Dale Byrne, I'm speaking for Shirley Moon, who had to bow out at 5 o'clock.
Okay, go ahead, Dale.
Okay, the subject is related to the pink dog waste bags that were in Bob's report. And dog waste has been and is an ongoing issue along Scenic Pathway and Carmel Beach, and it isn't getting better. Dog waste is found in both uncollected and collected in mutt mitts on the beach, not disposed of properly. I can speak with confidence about this because I walk the beach often and every time find both types. And some days I find 5 full collected bags that have been left on the beach. Beyond the repugnant component of improperly managed dog waste is the recent revelation of the elevated bacteria impact on our community and ocean. And it was mentioned earlier that ANYES has issued the tracing fecal contaminants and copper from watershed sources to the ocean. Dog fecal matter as a contributing factor was in this study, and it's monitoring stormwater, but clearly the excess dog waste on the pathway and the beach are making it much worse. So we need to raise the public's levels of awareness of the issue as a first critical component. We need to educate about the proper way to dispose of dog waste and make it easy and convenient for people to do so. We're suggesting strongly that we change the color of the mutt mitt bags and Scenic Pathway dispensers from green to pink for a period of time so we can compare the effectiveness of it. It allows the public to visually witness what the issue is by switching from the camouflage color of green, where the bags disappear into the bushes and on the seaweed on the beach and on the pathway in the bushes. People are totally unaware that there's a problem because they just don't see it. We need to make it obvious at a glance that bags are not being properly disposed of and that this is a problem. Empty bags that fall out of pockets and dispensers would also be easy to spot. Carmel Cares volunteers are making every effort to keep the pathway pristine with the same goal for the beach now. We're expanding teams in both places. Looking for pink bags along the pathway and throughout the much broader and difficult beach space will be much easier to spot for removal, and we have tested it to make sure. Assuming that there are dog owners who intended to return to the spot where they left the mutt mitt with their dog's gift, a pink bag would be easier to spot as they pass back the location. Other pet owners and public will have more difficulty walking past and leaving a pink bag, even though it is not their trash. This is truly everyone's problem and everyone's trash. It needs to be solved. Bob had some prices in there. The prices weren't correct because we've done some more research. It was the currently available information at the time, but we found a source where we can get the pink bags for $99 a case versus $68 a case. That's $31 per case difference. We don't have the total numbers. We need to do that research, but if the city isn't able to pay for it, Carmel Cares will pay for it. So we would like to get this moving as quickly as possible. Thank you very much.
All right, is there any other public comment? I don't see any hands raised. That was it?
So then I think Commissioner Sowers would be the vice chair, and he could adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
I just wanted to, I'm going to add on to Dale's comment there about the pink bags and the thing I did bring up, I believe at the last meeting that I was at, about the potential to test out some cans down at the bottom of the stairs once the beach is back in action, with regards to being able to drop their mutt mitts into a bag at the lower part of the stairs instead of having to drag them all the way up into the garbage cans that are either up at the top of the scenic walkway or at least down on 4th Avenue. It's all the way up the stairs. So we were going to give that a test, and Bob hadn't really replied on whether that's an option that we could move on as well. It might be a good idea if we go the pink bags, if we could get, maybe 1 or 2 cans down at the bottom of the stairs once the beach is repopulated with sand and people are using the beach again. So that's just my recorded comment with regards to the dog increment situation. And
This is just a question from Kelly. It seems at first, Dale, I appreciate your public comment, and that sounds like a great thing to try. I'm just wondering if we have the ability to have sort of a working group on this topic for Forest and Beach, because it seems like we've had some early indications relative to the water monitoring, but this looks like it's going to be something that's important to our community. Would this be an appropriate topic to have and maybe we need to defer until we have Bob back. Maybe this is something we could take up at our next meeting, but having a working group on this might be good for our commission.
I agree with you. I think that the main thing, I think that Dale's point is that we don't want to be waiting months out to make a decision on this to get approval from the city to go ahead and get pink bags or order up some boxes and give it a test go. And it just seems like sometimes things take a lot longer than we would like. And so I think Dale's issue was about expediency on that issue. But yeah, I'm all more, I think at our next meeting, maybe we can make it a topic to bring up, the dog increment issue and all the, maybe set up a committee.
I think it's a great, I'm not trying to slow anything down by having a working group. I just think that this is an important topic, and perhaps some of that waste isn't coming from our local population and maybe people who are visiting, because we're such a dog friendly beach community. So the education, I could envision lots of things that we could be doing on the beach with people with dogs to sort of help us here, right?
Yep.
Carmel Cares would love to participate with you in that study. If I could use the last 12 seconds I had, related issue in terms of pollution in the ocean is we picked up 70 pounds of cigarette butts. 70% of those were on the ground and would have ended up in the ocean. And this is a similar situation. If you add up the combined, and we're recycling those, by the way, if you add up the cigarette butts and the dog waste, it's shocking what it could be doing to our environment. So it's really an important issue. That's 200,000 cigarette butts, by the way.
Okay, I get it, Dale. Any other public comments for this meeting?
I don't see anyone's hands raised at this time.
Okay, I guess with that, we can conclude today's meeting with the Forest and Beach Commission and look forward to the next meeting.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.